Indian science and technology should be linked to India's culture and traditions. Now, before I delve into all the pros and cons of this debate, let's just get our fundamentals in order. What really is science and what purpose does it serve? Science exists to quench man's inherent curiosity regarding the world around him. Technology is a practical manifestation of scientific thought. On the contrary, we see that culture is an embodiment of our historical beliefs passed down from generation to generation through our traditions. On this note, I would like to state my stance. I stand against today's motion, and I will be validating my stance by discussing three broad themes. My first line of thought is regarding the restrictive nature of culture and tradition with respect to the progress of science and technology. Efforts to link scientific research in India to its culture and traditions will actually limit the scope of science and technology by forcing the latter to work within the narrow confines of the former. A prime example of this phenomenon happened quite close to home. Dr. Subhashish Mukhopadhyay, a physician from Kolkata, created the world's second and India's first child from in vitro fertilization. However, rather than being lauded for his breakthroughs, he was ostracized by the society since our culture cannot accept such a medical breakthrough. Second, culture and tradition may not just restrict the advancement of science and technology, but impede it altogether. Centuries of ingrained traditions have turned the majority of Indians against several scientific practices which, mind you, could have led to huge breakthroughs and advancements in various scientific and technological fields. An example of this is regarding cadaver research. In science, a number of breakthroughs come from research on human dead bodies. However, our culture believes in resting the spirit and in reincarnation or rebirth. And these beliefs are substantiated by the fact that we need to dispose of dead bodies. Therefore, if science and technology were linked to our culture and tradition, then there would be no possibility for exploiting cadaver research, which could help us so much, especially in rural areas where there are several diseases of unspeakable nature still thrive. However, whatever I have talked about until now are the ways in which culture and tradition may harm science and technology. What about the reverse? As great men have said, science and technology will only be as good as the way you use them. The frightening reality is that science and technology may actually be used for the more negative aspects of our culture. A prime example of this is a case of female feticide. Ultrasound allows us for prenatal sex determination, and therefore it allows us to go for abortion in case we know there is a female child. This is also an inherent part of our culture which is very male oriented. So do you mean, when you talk about advancement, is this what you mean? In conclusion, I will be putting forth a query. Do you really want us to progress at the rate at which our culture can adapt to change? History shows us that our culture has absorbed elements which were at one point of time alien to us. Examples of this include Indian architecture, most visibly the Taj Mahal, our education system, which includes this great institute, even our political parliamentary system and constitution. But this absorption of external factors and culture happens at a very slow rate, and hence it is absolutely illogical to expect us to link science with culture and then wait for science and technology to get acceptance from culture. On this note, I hope I have successfully shown you as to why we should not link science and technology with our culture and traditions. Thank you.
I would like to question your interpretation of culture. You spoke of female feticide and all that. But in metaphysics and quantum physics, all these things have been proved that they exist. So our culture is not entirely different. How do you justify that?
Regarding our first point regarding female feticide, if you clearly see the topic, it is Indian science and technology should be linked. The tense is very important. Our history may have had whatever great aspects it wanted, but that has no significance today because we seem to have lost it. Now, if you have to consider in that sort of sense, then our history had everything. We had Nalanda, we had all the great mathematical advancements, which don't exist anymore. So, considering the theme of the debate, I don't think that history really is fundamentally important. Coming to your second point regarding the fact of spirit, well, our culture has had this thing about reincarnation, and what we are talking about metaphysics is basically research on the existence of the soul. But what I am talking about is things like reincarnation, which is basically the spirit exiting one body and entering another. And that has not been scientifically proved in any aspect whatsoever. So I guess that's all the question.
Thank you.